The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score Breakdown Show, a Hoop Ball presentation. This episode is brought to you by Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. Get some delicious coffee and taste the Kona difference. Head over to hawaiianisles.com or Amazon and get some coffee. My name is Adrian Benjamins and I'm joined by Coach. Coach, how are you doing tonight?
Yo, Adrian. I haven't been able to say that in a long time, man. We're back. It's a season. We got real basketball. I mean, I'm ecstatic, dude. This is awesome.
Music to my ears. No better way that I can think of starting off the week than talking to you, Coach. Let's get the listeners, our fantasy hoop ballers, let's get them off on the right step to start the week. This is fantastic, man. Coach, I don't think we should waste any time. We've got a mega 11 game slate. Are you ready? Should we just jump right into it?
Man, I mean, we don't need any pleasantries. I think this is basketball at its best right now. We're getting games going that are completed, some in play, some that just started. I mean, this is awesome, man.
All right, man. So first game of the day or evening, I believe it was the Pacers and the Pistons. Pistons getting the victory. This was a close one, 96-94. I'm gonna jump in on the Pacers side first. Miles Turner, a little disappointing, 16 points, 1 block, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, did add a 3, 7 of 11 from the field. Sabonis has been pretty good. Double-double, 21 points, 14 rebounds. I wish he got some defensive stats, no steals, no blocks, but he did add a 3, shot 4 of 5 from the line, was 8 of 18 from the field. TJ Warren picking up the scoring slack on the wing here, 19 points, 5 steals. Love to see that from him. 1 assist, 5 rebounds, shot 9 of 22, added a 3. Brogdon, man, this guy's been fantastic and has been just great. Flirted with the triple-double here. 15 points, 11 assists, and 8 boards. Added a 3. Shooting wasn't too great, only 5 of 17, but was a perfect 4 of 4 from the line. Sumner was getting the start here, and he had 5 points. I wouldn't trust him. And not too much to talk about on the bench. Coach, what are your thoughts on the Indiana Pacers?
Well, I watched a lot of that game. I've got Drummond in a lot of leagues and Brogdon as well. So I was really into that game. And Brogdon has been terrific so far all season. All season. We're only 3 or 4 games in, but to start off the season, I mean, he's just everything that we expected he'd be, getting minutes in the mid to upper 30s. And flirting with that triple-double stuff. The disappointing thing with Brogdon is he had 2 wide-open threes in the last minute there where they could have taken the lead, and he bricked both of them. So, 1 for 6 from 3 was a little disappointing, but his stats have been solid all year, no doubt about it. The people that thought Sabonis could not play the 4, I do remember maybe having a little bit of banter back and forth on this one, because I thought Sabonis would be awesome at the 4, and he is proving that he has been, fits right into that spot. So, I wanted to mention that because I know we sort of ping-ponged that around last year a little bit. Would it work or not,
I agree with you. I think I thought Sabonis would be fantastic of the 4, so much so that it scared me off a little bit of Miles Turner, because I was like, man, if Sabonis is going to have games like he had tonight, for example, he had 14 rebounds. Turner only had 5 rebounds here tonight. Yeah. So it kind of appears like Sabonis is eating into Turner's plate. So that kind of scared me off of Turner coming in to the draft a little bit, but Sabonis looks like the real deal at the 4. All right, Coach, I'm going to jump in on the Pistons side. Drummond, man, what a fantastic season he's having.
Ooh.
Big double-double, 18 points, 18 boards with 2 blocks, 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 3 from the line. I love that he's not even hurting you from the line either. Kennard has been a popular pickup off the wire, 14 points, 4 assists, 3 boards, and you love the threes that he gives you. 3 of them here tonight, 5 of 11 shooting. Morris getting the start in the at the forward spot, but not doing too much. 8 points. I don't trust Snell. Frazier also getting the start for Reggie Jackson, but he put up a low-end line, so not too much to talk about. I should mention Derrick Rose, who has been red hot to start the season. 10 points, 6 assists, so kind of a down game from Derrick Rose, but he's been pretty fantastic if you drafted him. Coach, any thoughts on the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah, Rose ran into Brogdon, and Brogdon's a hell of a defender. So I think that explains some of that performance. But no, Drummond has been awesome. I mean, I was so super high on him coming into this year because, there was Casey did an interview and said he was going to play extended minutes this year. And we both know when Griffin doesn't play, Drummond's stats are like through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Blake comes back, he's obviously going to scoop some of those stats from Drummond, so that's going to be a little bit of a bummer. But Drummond's playing. He played 38 minutes again tonight. He looks fantastic, and he's healthy, and I think he's going to do well. Rose, as long as Jackson stays out, even though Frazier's getting sort of the phantom start, Rose, is a nice guy, for people that grabbed him as a backup or picked him up on waivers. What a nice pickup he is. But after that, they're just not a very strong team. One of my personal favorites, Christian Wood, had a nice game tonight, though.
You know what, Coach? I am super glad that you just mentioned Christian Wood. I should have mentioned him. Looked great. Nice game from him tonight. Now, the one thing that does still scare me off slightly, the minutes are still low. I think he got minutes in the low 20s. So, if he's going to see minutes like that, I think on most nights he's going to be up and down, but I'm definitely got my eye on him. I think on standard leagues, you can just put him on your watch list. In deeper leagues, if you want to go ahead and just make a speculative ad on him, I wouldn't be mad at you.
Well, the only problem is when Griffin comes back, it's really going to be tough getting the minutes. Because this was the most minutes he's played, and it was only 21 minutes, but the dude had 19 points and 12 rebounds and a block. I mean, what else? He needs to get minutes. I don't know why he always gets squeezed out, but it's a shame if Griffin's out a little bit more of an extended time. I'd go grab Wood right now.
Man, Coach, he really passes the eye test, doesn't he? I mean,
he does. He plays hard.
Long, pretty athletic, just a good all-around player. Like you see a lot of just good skill from him, good rebounder, good touch. I mean, I don't understand why he doesn't see more minutes. You're absolutely right.
It's crazy, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, let's keep rolling. Let's keep it going here. Let's jump over to the next one. The Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks. This one was somewhat of a surprise. The Knicks getting the victory 105-98. I'm going to jump over to the Chicago side first. Going to start with Zach LaVine, who had a nice game. 21 points, a steal, a block, 3 assists, 5 boards, 2 threes on 8 of 18 shooting. Otto Porter, I don't know what's going on with Otto. Only 7 points and no defensive stats, which is really strange. 3 rebounds, 1 3, shot 3 of 11 in 32 minutes. So against a team that's not known for their defense. So keep an eye on Otto Porter. Obviously, if he's on your team, you're not going to drop him, but just keep an eye on him and let's see if he can get it going. Lauri Markkanen, 18 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 threes. Perfect 6 of 6 from the line, 5 of 13 shooting. And I'm excited to see this line from Wendell Carter. 20 points, 3 blocks, a steal, 2 assists, 10 rebounds. This is why we drafted this guy. 6 of 7 shooting from the field, 6 of 7 from the line, 7 of 9 from the field. So outstanding percentages. Here we go. Let's hope that Wendell Carter can stay healthy and keep this up, because that's exactly what you want to see. And then on the flip side of this, Coach, I have Saturansky in like every league, and dude, 2 points here tonight. The minutes are there, 27 minutes, but I mean, he has not put a single good game up yet this season. I'm on the verge of dropping this guy in most of my leagues, so not happening. Off the bench, Kobe White has looked fantastic, but quiet in this one with only 16 minutes, 5 points. But I still like his outlook for the rest of the season. Coach, what are your thoughts on the Bulls?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to steer everybody away from that three-headed monster in Chicago because it just, the writing was on the wall that it was going to be a disaster for fantasy guys, because Saturansky, Dunn, and White are splitting minutes. So, that's just spells, zero for fantasy players. But, I've got a feeling White's going to eventually come out of this mess maybe with the most minutes. I don't, not initially, but I remember we talked about him quite a bit earlier. Remember, I was super high on him in the summer league, and I kept saying this guy is going to cut in to Saturansky and Dunn. And, he didn't get the minutes tonight, but if you have him or you can get him, I think eventually he's going to get the majority of the minutes at point. So, as far as Porter goes, he's hurt. He's playing injured, and he's actually on a minutes restriction. The coach said he was going to try to not play him over 25 minutes for a while, but he logged 31 tonight.
Yeah.
But he was lousy. 3 for 11 is not going to get it done. And, 3 rebounds, no assists in 31 minutes. That's pathetic. So, I don't know what's going on there. The Bulls, I think, have to figure a lot out. Yes, Wendell Carter had his first good game of the year, but he only took 9 shots and he only played 28 minutes. And that seems like a decent amount, but, that's I just don't trust his minutes either. So I'm not sure, between the whole Thad Young and Luke Cornett getting some time, man, I'll tell you, I don't want any Bulls on my roster at this moment.
Not a bad call, Coach. I kind of wish I avoided that three-headed monster in the backcourt. And, I forgot Otto Porter dealing with a hip issue, which, likely why he just hasn't got it going yet. And I love your take on Kobe White. Coach, you were really high on Kobe White during the summer, and man, he started the season red hot. I believe he had like a 20-point-plus game, and I was really surprised so soon how just he was playing so good, fearless. So I agree with you. I think at some point in the season, later on, we'll probably see him take over this backcourt. Hopefully.
I would hope so. I mean, he's actually third in usage on the team right now, behind Levine and Markkanen. And Levine's going to lead them all season long. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, we'll see where they go. It's going to be a learning season. I think they're really young.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump over on the Knicks side of this game. RJ Barrett has looked pretty good, man. He's surprised me. I mean, I thought he would be good, but not so soon. He's 19 and 15 here tonight. 19 points, 15 boards, 5 assists, a block, 5-11 from the field. So the shooting 5-11 from the line. So hurting you there a little bit from the line,
Definitely.
but 7 to 15 from the field. Julius Randle, I felt like he's probably the safest person on this Knicks roster, and showing it here tonight. 13 points, 14 boards. The turnovers are a little ugly, 8 turnovers, so that hurts a little bit in 9-cat leagues, but 5 assists, 5 of 13 from the field. Morris, I don't really trust him. 10 points for him. Peyton got the start and has been playing okay, but tonight he only got 21 minutes. I believe he left with an injury, so
yeah, he got hurt.
Keep an eye on that situation. Bobby Portis with a big revenge game here against his old team. 28 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 assists. I keep an eye on Portis. He really hasn't done much besides this game. So, but I love that he got 30 minutes, had a fantastic line. So if he does it again, maybe then we can think about making a move on him. Not too much else to talk about. Ntilikina, Knox, these guys, I don't really trust them. What do you think of the Knicks, Coach?
Well, did you watch? Did you happen to see any of the game?
Just some highlights.
Oh, it was so fun watching the fourth quarter because they were down 10 in the fourth quarter, and Bobby Portis just went off. And the crowd, the Knicks crowd is really intense, and they were cheering Bobby Portis super loud. It was so cool, and he hit like 3 threes in a row to give him the lead. It was fun to see, but. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I trusted his minutes, but really for me, Randall's turnovers are just a joke. How the hell do you get 8 turnovers? He had 7 the other day, and he's a big man. It's not like he's handling the ball. It just doesn't make any sense. But, Mitchell Robinson, monster, inconsistent. All these guys are. The only guy to me, if you can get him, is R.J. Barrett. Mm-hmm. And I know – the man just plays so many minutes. Fizdale has decided that I think he wants Barrett to just learn by playing. Yep. And he is just blowing away the minutes on the court, and minutes equal money. So keep him out there. Look at the stats tonight. 15 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he's playing a lot of point as well. So you got to love Barrett.
Coach, can I ask you a question? Because I haven't been playing much DFS. Is Barrett's DFS price expensive?
It's not that bad.
Okay.
It has gone up since the beginning of the year, but it's reasonable still. He hasn't, and it takes the DFS world, a couple, 3-4 weeks to adjust on all the pricing. But for the amount of usage and minutes he's getting, he's still a fairly value play.
Wow. All right, yeah. Let's keep it going. Let's jump over to the next one. Wow, such a big slate of games here.
I know.
Next game up I got is the Magic and the Raptors. The Raptors getting the victory 104-95. Going to start with the Magic side first. And, man, going to start with Jonathan Isaac. Big game from him tonight, 24 points, and the defensive stats is what you love from him. 3 steals, 2 blocks, 7 boards on a very efficient shooting all around. 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 7 from deep, and 5 of 5 from the line. This is outstanding.
What a game.
Yeah, outstanding game from Jonathan Isaac. Let's hope he could keep this up because he's prone to disappear at times. So I hope he can keep this going. Speaking of disappearing, Aaron Gordon with only 2 points tonight did give you 2 blocks, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. So did kind of contribute in some other areas, but only shot 1 of 6, which is really surprising from a guy who you kind of think is their number one option on the offensive end. Evan Fournier with 18 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. That's a nice scoring game from him. 7 of 15 from the line. He added a 3. Went perfect 3 of 3 from the line.
Yeah, what happened to Vuk, man?
Yeah, that is a really good question. And I feel like he hasn't really gotten off yet this season. So, Vucevic's a guy who was finished as a first-round value. So
I know.
Let's just hope that he gets it going, maybe just off to a slow start. But good call, Coach. Only 5 points from him. No defensive stats. Did give you 12 boards, 2 assists, 1 3. But, man, only shot 1 of 13.
Ouch.
And you really don't like getting shooting like that from your center. You're really hoping your centers bring up your field goal percentage, not bring them down like this. Looking at the bench, I got to mention Markelle Fultz. Has been a pleasant surprise here. 13 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds in 27 minutes. Even gave you a 3 tonight, which is outstanding. 6 of 11 from the field. Let's hope that he could keep this up and keep on building on these nice performances because he's a pleasant surprise so far in fantasy. Coach, anything I forgot or any thoughts on the Orlando Magic?
Isaac drives me crazy, man. I have him in one league, and Like the other day, he played 31 minutes. He was 1 for 3 from the field for 2 points, and he had 2 rebounds. I think I could get 2 points and 2 rebounds in 31 minutes. I just stand there and get that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why he can't be consistent. But, I mean, we've been saying he's young, but this is like his 3rd year, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's about time he needs to start showing some consistency. But really the Orlando picture, it's just weird because very inconsistent across the board. Night to night, you don't know what to expect. The only guy that right now is you mentioned is shining a light is Fultz. I think he eventually takes over the starting point guard job. I tried to go get him in 2 leagues and I couldn't get him. Everybody smelled that one coming a while ago, but definitely I think his upside, what a steal for them. He could be their point guard of the future,
Yeah, what a great move that was by the Magic, getting Fultz. It's just like low risk, high reward type of a move, and looks like it could pay off. I agree with you, Coach. I could see Fultz. I could see them moving him into the starting lineup. DJ Augustine, we know who he is, and and so I think I was surprised that Fultz even played this much to start the season because. In the offseason, there was reports that Fultz had no timetable and they're not going to rush him. So to see him getting, he got 27 minutes here tonight, I think this is a great sign. Coach, just like you, he's gone in all my leagues. Luckily, in a couple leagues, I was able to draft him. I took him with like a last round pick. So,
nice.
Yeah, pretty happy about that. Okay. Let's jump over to the Raptors side of this ball. Gonna start with Van Vliet. I got him in a bunch of leagues. Had a decent game here, 14 points, 2 steals, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. The shooting was a little ugly. Went 3 of 14 from the field, but was a perfect 7 of 7 from the line, so I'll take that. Kyle Lowry doing his thing, 26 points, 6 assists with 5 rebounds. Added 3. He shot 11 threes, but made 3 of those. 9 of 10 from the line, 7 of 18 from the field. A pretty good game from him. Coach, a big surprise for me. A guy I wish I had in more leagues, OG Anunoby, 12 points, 2 blocks, 5 steals, 2 assists with 8 rebounds and 2 threes. This guy is fantastic, and he went really late in most of my drafts, in almost all my drafts. Pascal Siakam, man, this guy really stepping up with the absence of Kawhi Leonard, showing that he could be the man. 24 points, 3 assists, 9 boards, 1 3, shot 9 of 16, perfect 5 of 5 from the line. Gasol, this is kind of nice to see. Double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. I thought he'd be a little bit better this year, but it's clear, he's kind of on that downward trend.
Yeah.
So, kind of just a low-end center option. Ibaka didn't really have it going, 9 points, 10 rebounds, but could be better than this on most nights. I think he's a good low-end option. Off the bench, not too much else to talk about. Coach, what do you think of the Raptors?
Well, I mean, if you have Van Vliet or Lowry, you got to be loving it because they're both getting like almost 40 minutes a game, and they're both playing really well. So that's awesome. Siakam, I got in one league. I think I took him like 30th. I mean, he was going super high in drafts, and I wanted him because I thought he would just dominate this year, and he's done a really fine job and hasn't even really exploded yet. I think he's gonna the star of this team. But you're right, this Anunoby, OG Anunoby out of nowhere. In one of my leagues, he didn't even get drafted.
Wow.
That's how bad he was. So, the fact that he played 38 minutes again tonight, and he's starting to chip in. If you're in a smaller league, like a 10-man league, there's a good chance he didn't go. You want to go scoop him up on the waiver wire because looks like he's going to get consistent minutes, going forward. But I'll tell you, if you do have Marc Gasol, try to peddle him while he's still worth, like a bag of balls, because he looks like he just all of a sudden is just gotten slow and just not there. So get rid of him if you can.
Yeah, I love that take, Coach. I love that take. Marc Gasol, just an older player, just his arrows just pointed down. So it definitely,
Yeah.
if you can move him, let's say in the next game he does a really good game. See if you can
Time it.
target that team. And by the way, this is my team in my home league. Target that team that really needs a center. I'm desperate
Right.
for some center help. I'll tell you what, man. If somebody offered me Gasol, I would probably just because I'm so desperate in this league for some boards and blocks. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, hit up that deal. All right, you guys, let's jump to the next one. Let's keep this going. The Sixers and the Hawks. I actually got to catch a lot of this one. This was a fun one. Sixers edging out the victory 105-103. I'm going to start on the 76ers side of the ball. Tobias Harris doing his thing, 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Didn't shoot it well, only 5 of 16, gave you a 3. Ben Simmons doing his thing, 13 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. Shot it nice, shot at 6 of 11. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid with a monster game. And one thing that's nice about this one is he was iffy coming into this game. So you love that he played, and you love that he gave you a monster line here. 36 points with 13 boards, 5 assists, 3 steal, a block. Did have 7 turnovers, but I don't even know if you're going to complain because he went perfect 10 of 10 from the line, gave you 2 threes as well, and shot an efficient 12 of 19 for the field. So I'm willing to overlook those 7 turnovers on this one. Al Horford didn't have the scoring going, only took 4 shots, made 1 for 5 points, but I love that he gave you 4 blocks, a steal, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. So was at least able to contribute in some other areas. Josh Richardson, 14 points, 3 blocks. You gotta love that. 3 assists, 5 boards, 2 threes. Nice game from him. Coach, I gotta mention Matisse Thybulle. Only 20 minutes and 8 points, but 6, 7, 8 cash counter stats here with the 2 blocks, 4 steals, 2 threes. That's what you love to see in mega deep leagues. If you're playing Thybulle, that's the reason why you played him, man, for those defensive stats. So definitely giving you that here. Not too much else to talk about on this bench. What do you think of the Sixers, Coach?
Well, I mean, Joel Embiid's just such a stud, man. I love him. I know he misses games and he's going to have some load management games, but when he's in there, he's just going to dominate. And I just, he's playing great ball. I hope he stays healthy. The rest of the guys, I mean, they're Phillies. I'm always been a big Philly guy the last couple of years because I just like the way they've constructed this team. I think they have some good defenders. They have some clutch scorers. This rookie Thybulle, good Lord, the steals are amazing. He's in the top 10 in the league in steals, and he's only playing like 17 minutes, 16 minutes a game. It's like crazy how many steals this kid gets, but he still needs to. I watched him a little bit the other day. He's still super raw, but great potential. I think nice guy to have in a keeper league. I wish I had him in one of my keeper leagues.
Great call, Coach. You know what? I might double check in some of my shallower keeper leagues to see if he's there because, man, his per 36 numbers must be through the roof.
Ridiculous.
Great call. I'm going to check in on the Atlanta side. Trae Young, man, this is outstanding. Luckily I was able to draft him in my home league. 25 points. The 7 assists aren't great. Didn't have any defensive stats. He's not known for getting you any blocks. But
what round did you get him in, just for the heck of it?
Round 2, Coach.
You had to go high, huh?
Yep. I think I was the 9th pick out of 13 teams. This is a roto league, so we got 13 teams. I went Bradley Beal to start. He's been a little shaky. And then on the way back, Coach, my plan was to get Drew Holiday or Kemba Walker. Both guys went right before me. So plan B or plan C was Trae Young. And I got to be honest with you, Coach.
You hit the jackpot.
Well, I may want Trae Young above Kemba
I
and
do.
Drew
I
Holiday.
would.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
hell yeah.
I gotta say I got a little lucky, and sometimes it's not bad to be a little lucky. So
Beautiful.
I'll take it. DeAndre Hunter, I've seen this guy get dropped in a couple leagues, and I think this guy could be, is going to be a little up and down to start the season, but I think at some point this season he could be a really good fantasy player.
I do too.
14 points, a steal, and assist, 9 boards, so pretty good game. I love that he got 30 minutes and 2 threes tonight is pretty good. John Collins is fantastic, man. Having a good start to the season. 16 points, a steal, a block. I really like that he's giving you some defense this season. 1 assist, 8 boards, 1 3 on 6 of 10 shooting. Cam Reddish doesn't really have it going right now. It's going to be a little up and down to start the season. 4 points from him, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on him. Alex Len, Coach, I took a flyer on Alex Len in some deep leagues real late. I'm ready to move on from him. Only 18 minutes.
He stinks.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's just, man, I feel like every year I pick him up somewhere and end up just moving on from him. Anyways, off the bench, Kevin Huerter, a guy I got in a lot of spots. I'm going to hang on to him. I think he's still dealing with a knee issue. I don't think he's 100%. 6 points, 2 steals, 3 assists. I'm going to hang on to him and see if he can get it going. If not, we may need to move on from him, but I had high hopes for him. Another guy that I'm watching is Bruno Fernando. We just talked about how bad we just talked about how bad Alex Len is. So, Fernando, sometime down the road this season, maybe they turn to Fernando, and flashing a little bit of his upside here tonight with 11 points, 2 blocks, 2 assists, 4 boards. So maybe this is a guy in deeper leagues we can take a look at later down the line. What do you think of the Hawks, Coach?
That's a good point. Yeah, it's amazing how good Trae Young is. He is just dominating out there, and it's I noticed too is he my biggest concern with him coming into the year was turnovers, and he had 7 again tonight, and that's still something he's got to get a little bit of control of. But his shooting is just insane. And his foul shooting is just pristine, and he sees the floor, gets a ton of assists. So I love him. If he can cut down a little bit on the turnovers, which, first few years in the league for every point guard, they always have some extra turnovers. But he's a foundational guy. I'm so glad you got him where you got him, because he's going to have a big year. The guy you mentioned, and I'm glad you brought him up, is DeAndre Hunter. I like that kid. I've seen him play, and he's just feeling his way. I'd say by the All-Star break, the second half of the year, he's going to be a monster. That's my prediction, because he's got a lot of savvy. He's a really good defender. He can shoot the ball. Definitely a guy to target if you have a spot. And small forward's a tough position. There's not a whole lot of them, so he's a guy to keep an eye on. I like him.
I agree with that take, Coach. And hitting the wire in quite a few of my leagues. My home league, 13-team Roto, somebody just dropped him. I right away was like, man, I just want to pick this guy up and put him on my bench. And as you said, Coach, probably around that All-Star break point, he could be someone who's just being consistently giving you good lines. So I love
the ball too.
Yep. And excuse me, Trae Young. Luckily, the league where I got him, that home league, is an 8-category league, so I'm not
turnovers.
Yep, no turnovers.
Oh my God! And he's a top 3 or 4 player right now.
Yes, absolutely. And last thing I want to mention about Young, I was slightly worried about this matchup because the Sixers have a very good defensive backcourt in Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson. So I was actually expecting Young to struggle to have a huge struggle in this one. So I'm kind of happy to see this line, even though turnovers were bad and the shooting not great, but this was a tough matchup for him.
He's a stud, man.
Yeah, locked and loaded. All right, let's keep it going, man. Wow, what a night. The Cavaliers taking on the Bucks. 129-112 victory to the Bucks. Gonna start on the Cavs side first. Kevin Love with a nice double-double here. 15 points, 16 boards. Would have liked to have gotten some defensive stats, but 2 assists, 3 threes on 5 of 12 shooting. Tristan Thompson, what a pleasant surprise.
Wow,
This guy's been double-double with 17 points, 13 boards. Didn't give you any defensive stats, but, if you got Tristan Thompson, you likely picked him up off the wire or got him in your last round, so that's pretty good. Colin Sexton, he can score the ball, man. 18 points on 8 of 15 shooting, but you like that. Didn't do too much else. 1 assist, 3 boards, but can definitely score the ball. Cedi Osman had a really rough one the other night. I think he had a point or 1 basket the other game. So not too great here either. Only 10 points, not much else. I don't know, man. He's feeling like just a really low end like a really late round value guy this year. So Darius Garland, only 9 points here tonight, 2 assists, 1 rebounds. I like Garland. I would hang on to him if you can, or I think kind of similar how we've been talking about these other rookies. I think there could be a point this season where Garland becomes a reliable fantasy guy. So even though it's kind of been an up and down start, the point guard position is so hard. Also, too, I'm not sure if he's 100% healthy. Didn't really have much of a preseason and off season, so could just take him some time. Off the bench, Clarkson was nice, 17 points, 4 assists. Larry Nance, guy, I mentioned in my other league I need some big help. This is a guy I might be able to get on the cheap. 15 points, 2 blocks, 8 rebounds. This is exactly the type of guy I need. I might try to make a low-end offer on Larry Nance. He also gave you 2 threes here tonight. I really wish, he would start, but they're going Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. But if Nance is going to get 25 minutes like he did tonight, I think he could be viable. Coach, any thoughts on the Cavaliers?
Yeah, I think Nance would be a good pickup because I think they're going to eventually trade Kevin Love, and then Nance will move back in there. So that'd be a good, preemptive move there. Thompson has been fantastic. He's been not just like skimming by with double-doubles. He's been getting like 18 and 15 and stuff like that. So he's a great pleasant surprise as a plug-in center for if you need one. But, you got to remember it was only 10 days ago that Coach Beilein announced that Garland was going to play the 1 and Sexton was going to bump over to the 2. And I saw an interview with Sexton, and he said he's played point guard every season since 5th grade.
Wow.
So he's never played the 2 in his life. So these are 2 young guys learning the game in the NBA. You're not going to get much out of them this year consistently. So for me, the Cavaliers, if you can grab Tristan Thompson and use him as a good secondary center, you're in good shape. And I think Love, if he plays, he's going to get load management days. Obviously, when he plays, he's very solid. But you really can't trust anybody else on this team. Everybody's going to get 20-some minutes, and they're not going to be very good. So definitely a team to fade away on as much as you can.
I love that take, man. Not a lot to love for fantasy on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No.
All right, let's jump over on the Milwaukee side. Nice to see Chris Middleton have a good game. 21 points, 1 steal, 2 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 threes. Shot a 9 of 14 from the field, so good game from him. Giannis Antetokounmpo, for his high standards, this feels like somewhat of a letdown. Only shot 5 of 15 for 14 points, but did give you 2 blocks, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, so still contributing in multiple categories. Brook Lopez, this guy is just solid. 16 points. I love the 2 blocks and the 3 steals 1 assist, 5 rebounds. Not known for those defensive stats, but
he's got a decent amount of blocks this year. That's been a big surprise.
Which is great, because I remember those days when he was on the Nets where he never got blocks. So this is a good surprise. And also, of course, we love that he's changed his game and shooting threes. Gave you 3 of them tonight. So pretty good line here from Brook Lopez. Let's see, who else? Matthews with 14 points, a steal, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Bledsoe, I've been hearing a lot of people say buy low on Bledsoe. So 14 points, a steal, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, only shot 6 of 16. I believe Bledsoe's kind of dealing with a rib injury. So, maybe his slow start's just because he's not 100%. Let's hope he could get it going. Off the bench, Connaughton had 17. George Hill with a nice line, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Not really sure I trust the George Hill doing this most nights if he's only seeing minutes in the high teens, though. So I don't know if this one's a little bit of an outlier. What do you think of the Bucks?
Well, I don't like the Bledsoe-George Hill mixture right now. I think, that Coach loves to split those guys at point, and I think that's going to continue a lot. So I think it hurts Bledsoe's value more than anything, and I agree with you. I don't quite trust Hill. I mean, they've got a hell of a bench. Korver's contributing, and Connaughton and Ilyasova and all that. And all that does is chew into the other guys' minutes. I have no interest in a Matthews or any of those guys. Lopez has been okay. It's just hard plugging him in there at center because he doesn't really rebound a whole lot, and it's really tough. I mean, Giannis is going to be Giannis. Middleton's going to be a solid player throughout the year. But after that, Milwaukee's a great real team, but not a great fantasy team after Giannis and Middleton.
Yeah, I think that's a great take. Which is a little surprising.
I know.
I really thought when Brogdon left, Bledsoe would step up, and we're hoping, that some of that usage would get spread across these guys. So I don't know. Let's hope that they can improve as the season gets going. Coach, let's jump over to the next game. So many here. The Warriors and the Pelicans. This is a nice win for the Warriors. Coach, it has not looked great for the Warriors in the last few ones. So nice to see a bounce back here. And I'm going to start with Draymond Green, who had a triple-double in this one. 16 points, 10 assists, 17 boards, 2 steals. I was just talking about buying low on him in another spot. So, that window might be closed after this one. This was a really nice game here.
It was.
D'Angelo Russell, this is good to see as well. Coach, I think I'm really happy that all 3 guys, Green, Russell, Curry, all played well in this one, because I feel like they haven't really figured it out yet. From what you've seen, they seem a little off, or they're not used to each other. I don't know what it is. So nice to see them clicking in this game. Russell with 24 points, 8 assists, 7 boards, 3 threes on 9 of 21 shooting. Steph Curry, this is nice to see from him. 26 points, 3 steals, 11 assists, 4 threes on 9 of 17 shooting. Was a perfect 4-4 from the line. Robinson got the start here, had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. I don't trust him. Jordan Poole also getting the start. Had a decent game with 13 points, 2 steals, 3 threes, but I don't know if we trust him as well. Not too much to talk about on this bench. Lee had a nice game with 23 points and 11 rebounds, but it feels a little fluky to me. What do you think of the Golden State Warriors?
I think the Warriors are in trouble. I mean, they won tonight and they played decent, but the Pelicans have the worst defense in the league. Their defense is pathetic. They're young and they push the ball. It's like the old Gentry teams. This is one of those guys, Alvin Gentry, that always gets a job. It's like his 4th team. If you look at his overall record, it's like below 500. I just guys like this drive me crazy in the NBA. They don't give young coaches a chance. They just retread these guys, and then he goes back. He gets fired, then he goes back and he's an assistant for like a Steve Kerr. Then he gets fired or goes and gets a job, and he gets fired and he goes and assists for another big name. I mean, it's just frustrating. I think the Pelicans have a lot of talent, but defensively they're going to get outscored on most nights. On the Golden State side, though, I think when they announced that Klay Thompson was going to be out for the year, and to me it looks like they're sort of, and I know it's like overreaction and people are saying this and it's 4 games in and all this. I don't see them making the playoffs. That's my gut feeling. Curry is a great fantasy player. Draymond on, most nights is going to contribute across the board he's not going to shoot the ball real well, but he's going to do everything else. And then after that, I still don't think Russell fits in super well here, and I think they're going to eventually move him. And then after that, they're horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't claim Robinson, Cole, Pascal, Lee, Evans, Spellman, Crisp. I wouldn't take any of those guys off waivers, even for a bench spot. And you're talking about their 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th best players. So, how are they going to win long term this year? I think Curry's going to see a lot of double teams, and I think they're in trouble personally.
Sad to say, Coach, I think you're correct, and I got to eat some crow because I thought that the Warriors could still be a decent playoff team, but definitely, I didn't know Klay Thompson, Steve Kerr saying that Klay Thompson couldn't miss the whole season or they don't expect him back this year. That really throws a wrench because without, just as you said, Coach, without Klay Thompson, their 3rd best player is and it's
a heartbreaker for them psychologically, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And good call. The Russell fit is weird. It doesn't look right. Something just seems off with it. And then lastly, the West is just a juggernaut of teams that so it's not looking good for the Warriors. So let's jump over on the Pelicans side. I gotta start with Brandon Ingram, man. This guy has been really good. Coach, I looked on the player rater and it's kind of skewed to look at the player rater right now because players have played more games than other players, and if you're a player that haven't played many games and let's say you had a bad game, it's like your rating on the player rater really is not accurate. But man, Brandon Ingram right now is up towards the top of the player rater, seeing a real boost with Zion out of this lineup. 27 points, 2 steals, 6 assists, 10 rebounds. I mean, 4 threes, just filling it up all over the place, contributing in every category. This and has been doing this for a few games. So this isn't just like
he's done it every game.
Every game. Good call, Coach. Ball doing his thing. 12 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, 2 threes on 4-10 shooting. I think Josh Hart is the guy you want to grab if Holiday is going to miss some time. I don't think Holiday is going to miss an extended period of time, but it's possible he sits maybe another game or so, and I think you could play Hart in his absence. 12 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 assist, 4 rebounds, 2 threes tonight for Hart. Redick didn't really have it going, only shot 1 of 10 for 5 points, 2 blocks, 3 assists, 1 rebounds. I don't trust Okafor, 6 points for him. The bench mob really came through here tonight with their rookie Hayes with 19
How about
points.
my guy, man?
Your guy
that's my
Hayes.
boy that had the dunk in when I was at Summer League, and I went insane. You remember that?
Oh, that was the dunk of Summer League, Coach. I will never forget that one. You know what? Had a nice dunk in this game, too. Had a nice lob. I think it came from Zoe. I think it came from Lonzo. Had a great alley-oop in this one. I really wish he would get more minutes. Maybe at some point this year when the Pelicans are out of it, maybe they kind of let loose the youngsters. And one of those guys I hope is included in that group is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Has had a slow start, not really getting the minutes. Saw 24 minutes in this one and put up a nice game. 15 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal, 2 threes on 6 of 11 shooting. I think if at some point they give this guy minutes, we know Alexander Walker is a talented guy, but I don't trust him right now in standard leagues, but a guy I'm definitely watching. Coach, what do you think of the Pelicans?
Well, I mean, it's frustrating. Like I say, I don't like their coaching, and I'm not sure what they're doing. And then having Zion out, it just threw a big wrench into everything.
Yeah.
But I could tell you my opinion on this team. I think, I'm in 5-year-long leagues, one dynasty, one head-to-head, and 3-year-long regular rotisserie year-longs. And I have Ingram in all 5. The only guy I have in all 5 leagues are Ingram and Porzingis. And I've been high on Ingram. I thought he just needed the opportunity to lead. So having Zion out right now has been the best thing for him because it's allowed him to step up, and he is the man on this team right now.
Looks
so
good.
I love that. I think his future is terrific. I am 100% with you. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is fantastic. I mean, he came into the first couple of games chucking and ducking. He took 8 shots in like 2 minutes in the one game because he's just wanting to grasp that opportunity. And if you look at today, like you said, in 23 minutes, he was 6 for 11 from the field, and he was 2 for 4 from 3. He had 9 assists and 4 rebounds and a steal. How, that in 23 minutes, I think he eventually works his way into that lineup. I'm hoping. Now, the guy that I'm shocked tonight is, I was loving Jackson Hayes, but he's hardly played in the preseason. Mm-hmm. The last game I watched, he was actually not dressed. They had him in a suit. He didn't even make the starting roster for the game. And then all of a sudden tonight, he gets 23 big minutes, goes 9 for 11 from the field with 3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal and a block. I mean, I love the kid. I think he's way more athletic than a Jahlil Okafor. I'd play him over him in a heartbeat. And if they're smart, they will take this young core of Ingram, Zion, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Hayes, and let these guys develop. Don't waste time with the J.J. Redicks and Kenrich Williams and all these guys that are sucking up minutes. Frank Jackson, those guys are never going to be, lead you to the playoffs. So if they're smart, they'll play the right rotation of young guys. And if they do, I'd love to be a Pelicans fan in about a year or two because I think they're going to be tough as hell.
I agree with you, man. And I hope that they kind of hand the team over to the youngsters sooner rather than later. I'm just afraid that they're going to wait too long in the season because you do get that feeling from the Pelicans that they are trying to win and get to the playoffs. I'm really worried that it's going to take some time. But, we know that it's going to be really hard for them to make the playoffs. So let's hope that they just kind of decide to go into development mode because I agree with you, Coach. They got some exciting young players, and it would be a lot of fun just to see the young guys learn and go off. So,
Adrian,
crossed.
Can you call the general manager over there and tell him, this guy, this old coach in Dallas that wants to come out of retirement and have a second career in coaching because I want to coach this Pelicans team.
Oh, Coach! What a fun team, right? Like a team that would be a lot of fun to coach.
They're going to be good.
They run a great pace for fantasy as well. So, not only a lot of talented players, but if they got the minutes, could put up some big fantasy numbers. So
no doubt.
Keep an eye. Okay, guys, let's go over to the next one. We're only going to have Coach for 2 more games because I believe we've got 3 games still going on. So let's go to the final 2 games here that are done. The Thunder and the Rockets. I'm going to jump over on the Thunder side first. Actually, let me give you the score on that one. 116-112. The Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 22 points, 4 assists, 9 rebounds, 2 threes on 8 of 21 shooting. He's been fantastic. Gallinari doing his thing. We know as long as he stays healthy, he should provide some solid value. 17 points, 3 assists, 5 boards from him, 2 threes. Pretty good game. Chris Paul's gotten off to a slow start, and this is kind of nice to see from him. 15 points, 2 steals, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 threes on 6 of 14 shooting. Did have 6 turnovers, but it's nice to see him put up some stats. Steven Adams, this is a guy I
Yeah.
thought who was going to really blow up with Jeremy Grant gone, Paul George gone, no Westbrook siphoning rebounds off of him. Now, the rebound numbers were there tonight, 12 rebounds, but the scoring is not. Only 6 points on 2 of 7 shooting. So he did give you 2 blocks. Let's hope that he gets it going. Ferguson got the start but had a goose egg in points. Not much in 19 minutes. We don't trust him. Schroeder is a guy who's been playing well off of the bench.
Yeah.
22 points for him. 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 4 threes on 8 of 13 shooting. He's been playing pretty good lately.
Been
So,
gunning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nerlens Noel, 15 points. This is a guy I'm stashing in some mega deep leagues just in case the Thunder decide to move Steven Adams. I think Noel could be the guy there in the front court if the Thunder decide to move on from Adams.
Yeah.
Not too much else to talk about on this team. What do you think of the Thunder?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Adams because I think he was going like 3 rounds too early in
Mm-hmm.
drafts, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, Grant's gone and this and that, and he's gonna, Westbrook took all those rebounds all the time, and he's gonna get all those." And I said, "Here's what people aren't considering, and this is why I thought he was so highly overrated. Most of his buckets were off passes from Westbrook. Westbrook would draw that center over because he was beating his guy off the dribble, and Adams would get either an easy dunk, lob dunk, or a kickoff, or an offensive rebound. So a lot of his stats were generated strictly from Westbrook, and he's not getting that at all with Chris Paul. So I think
Interesting.
that's what's killing Adams. The one thing in this season with Oklahoma City, the only guy I like on this team at all is Shea. I think Shea is the face of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a future all-star. That's how good I think he is. And I think he's, the tough part for the Thunder is they're desperately trying to showcase Adams and Paul to trade them,
Mm-hmm.
but they both stunk. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. But really, Gallinari's going to always just score and have somewhat shallow stats everywhere else. If you can get Shea or trade for Shea or whatever you can do, this dude is a mega superstar. And I'm so mad that I don't have him in my keeper league, but it is what it is.
I love that take. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, man, the potential is just sky high for this guy. And could you imagine if they do move Chris Paul? I mean, he's already putting up some great value right now. His
Usage.
usage, his numbers would even take more of a boost if Chris Paul is out of there. So definitely, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, a guy you definitely
He's
want.
third in the league right now in usage at 36%.
Wow.
And that's pretty impressive when you're talking about the LeBrons and Davises and Westbrooks and Hardens. And he's third in the league.
Fantastic. Okay, let's jump over on the Houston side. James Harden's gotten off to a rough start. I think he's still just adjusting to playing next to Westy and that whole situation, but love to see this from him tonight. 40 points, a steal, a block, 7 assists, 3 boards. He took 14 threes tonight, made 3 of them, and you love the 21 of 22 from the line. Just really a solid anchor for your free throw percentage.
Insane. 21 for 22 from the line.
Fantastic,
Insane.
man. It is unbelievable. 8 of 21 from the field. Westy doing his thing. He's been pretty good this season. 21 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, flirting with the triple-double here. Added a steal, 9 of 16 shooting. Clint Capella, 15 points, 7 rebounds, and assists, a steal, 3 blocks on 7-11, doing his thing. They got a couple guys here in deeper leagues that I'm actually was able to pick up in a few leagues. PJ Tucker, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. Look, this guy's getting good minutes. He's got that all-around dirty defensive game, likes to do that dirty work. The 9 boards here tonight with some defensive stats, can provide threes. Had 5 threes tonight. If this guy is sitting on your wire, you need some small forward help. I think he could be useful. And you deep league guys, I picked up Daniel House. Did not have a great game here tonight, Coach, but I love that he got 37 minutes and he took 11 shots. So if these shots were just falling here, this line would look a lot better. And I love he took 8 threes. So if these shots would just go down, this would be a nice line. So in deep league guys, Daniel House could be a guy that you might want to pick up. The bench, not too much to talk about. Aaron, kind of surprised to see Eric Gordon only have 10 points in 37 minutes.
He's been awful.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad. And then I don't trust anybody else on this team other than those guys I mentioned. What do you think of the Rockets, Coach?
You're just dead on the nuts right there. I mean, if you can grab PJ Tucker, grab him. He's always going to play 35, 38 minutes because he leads the league in charges. He's such a scrappy defender. He guards 7-footers, and the dude's like 6'5".
Wow.
He's unbelievable. I love watching him play as a real player. He's just so much fun. But as a bench guy, he's a nice guy to have. When Gerald Green broke his foot in the preseason, it triggered me to take Daniel House as my last round pick.
Oh, wow.
In 2 of my leagues. And it ended up being solid because tonight he had 37 minutes. And, he's not going to wow anybody, but, he gets some blocks and rebounds and he could knock down a few shots. But I'm not like crazy about him. But if you need a small forward is the thinnest position, and if you need a guy on your bench, he's going to get a lot of minutes and he's worth it having. But I agree with you. I don't trust any of the other bench guys whatsoever.
Yeah. Not a bad guy, House, to have in some deeper leagues at the very end of your roster. So
right.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump over to the Trailblazers and the Spurs. Who won this one? Oh, the Spurs getting the victory, 113-110. Gonna jump in on the Blazers side of the game first. Lillard doing his thing, doing what he does. 28 points, 7 assists with 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Love getting some swats from him there. 3 threes, 9 of 28 shooting. So the shooting's not great there. That's a little rough, but we know he's prone to have nights like this. 7 of 8 from the field is nice. CJ McCollum, this is great to see. 27 points, 5 assists, 3 boards, 3 threes on 10 of 22 shooting, 4 of 5 from the line. Rodney Hood has been pretty solid. Didn't really have it going in this one. Usage was a little low. Only 3 of 7 for 11 points, but did have a steal, a block, 3 rebounds. If you need some scoring and some threes, he could be a guy worth having at the end of your roster. I don't really trust Tolliver. Whiteside, this was a little disappointing. Only 8 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. We expect him to get a double-double every single time he plays with some blocks. So to not see that double-double with no blocks always feels a little disappointing. Zach Collins is out with a shoulder injury. I'm hoping it's nothing serious. I'm hoping we get him back soon. But in the meantime, Coach, I really wanted to watch this game to see who could step up in his absence. I thought it would be Kent Bazemore. Now, he only got 3 points. Shot, just not a good shooting night. 1 of 9, did get 24 minutes. But now I'm starting to wonder, maybe Kent Bazemore is not a guy you can rely on. But keep an eye on that situation. Anyone else you think we're talking about here, Coach?
I personally, I've watched Portland play quite a bit. I watched the whole game against the Mavs last night where they stole that one at the end with the coach's reversal call. It was a bunch of baloney. But I'll tell you what, it's amazing to me. I don't know what's happened or how it's happened, but McCollum and Lillard are absolutely stinking phenomenal. I think they're the best backcourt right now in the entire league. They're going to score 60 points a game, but the rest of their team suck. You can take Hood, Tolliver, Whiteside, Labissiere, Bazemore, Hazonia, all those guys, and you can stick them in the G League. They stink. I didn't know. I don't know what happened to them. They used to be a good team, but I mean, yes, Lillard and McCollum are going to dominate usage. They're great players. But after that, do not count on a single guy on this team, including a big 7'1" stiff Whiteside. He's a
Yeah.
bum.
I unfortunately,
Other
Coach.
than that, I don't have an opinion.
Unfortunately, Coach, I gotta agree with you, man. I just think after Lillard and McCollum are done eating, there's not a lot of meat on that bone when they're done. And Zach Collins, a guy I drafted in a lot of leagues, thinking that he could be a good sleeper, but even before he got hurt, he really wasn't doing much. Yeah. So just as you said, Coach, like no one else you really feel good about playing other than those two studs in that backcourt.
And I read, just since you said you had him, it was a dislocated shoulder, but they popped it back in without any ligament damage, and they only think he'll miss 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I was hearing that he had a full range of motion when they popped it back in, and usually that's a good sign that there's no ligament damage, no tearing or anything like that.
Well, they got the MRI back today, so you should be good. You shouldn't miss him too much.
But you know what? I'll be honest with you. It hasn't done too much for me, but in my home league where I drafted him, I am really desperate for some big man help. So, so I'm my fingers crossed he can come back and get it going soon. So anyways, let's jump over to the San Antonio side. LaMarcus Aldridge, 15 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, a steal, 5 blocks. Love seeing those defensive stats from him. 6 of 17 from the field. DeMar DeRozan, after a semi-slow start, 27 points, 2 steals, 7 rebounds on 10 of 16 shooting. We know he's never going to give you any threes, but still a pretty good fantasy player. Coach, really surprised. I thought Derek White would be the guy. And, Derek White had a nice game here, but it's really been Bryn Forbes starting next to DeJounte Murray. Forbes with 14 points, 7 rebounds. Didn't do too much else. Did give you 2 threes, but looks like Bryn Forbes might be the guy you want to own if you need a shooting guard. He's the guy starting, getting most of the minutes there next to Murray. Lyles didn't do much, 0 points in 25 minutes. Speaking of DeJounte Murray, 7 points, 8 assists, a steal, a block. Kind of a bad game from him, only shot 3 of 8 for Murray, but he's been pretty good, so I would not worry about him. I mentioned Derek White, 21 points off the bench. I feel like this is the first good game he's had this season, so I got a lot of friends, Coach, who were like on the ledge about to drop him, and I think maybe this game, seeing a 21-point outing from him, shot 8 of 11, maybe this is enough for them to just hang on to him, see if he can get it going. Not too much else to talk about on this roster. Little surprised that Rudy Gay really hasn't been a good option so far. Only 8 points from him tonight. Only saw 20 minutes, and that's not great. Coach, what are your thoughts on the Spurs?
I have a real strong take on the Spurs. I believe that if you're in a keeper league, you want to hang on to DeJounte Murray because he's going to be a really good point guard for a long time. But if you're in just a regular year-long or head-to-head league, and I really mean this, I'm not generalizing, I do not want a single Spur. Not one. I'm not kidding you. I don't want DeRozan. I don't want Aldridge. I don't want Forbes, White, Pirtle, Murray. I don't want any of them because they're not going to be consistent. They're always going to split minutes. He's going to do load management with the older guys. I mean, you cannot count on these. It's like Pop hates people that gamble, bet on basketball, have DFS, have fantasy leagues. He's like the destroyer of all that because he's going to play everybody 22 minutes and everybody's going to split equal. And the damn guy still wins games. That's the funniest part about it. So I don't want any Spurs, man. I really don't.
I love that take. And, we've known for some time that Pop has one of the most Coach Popovich has one of the most unreliable rotations and minutes out of all the. I mean, he was one of the originators, right, of the whole.
He was the originator of load management. Yeah,
totally. So I agree with you, Coach, where you got a guy who maybe in another team, in another system, getting a different allotment of minutes would be a fantastic fantasy player. But on the Spurs, it feels like they get a little knock in value dealing with
A
that.
lot of knock.
Yeah. So definitely agree, Coach. Spurs, not a team that you want to target heavily for fantasy.
I'm with you, brother.
Okay, Coach, we got 3 more games, but they're still in progress. Coach, I know you're doing double duty, and you're going to head straight over to another podcast from here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take over these last 3 games when they finish later on. We're going to let you go. Coach, before you go, where can the listeners find you? Is there anything you're working on that you want to plug or anything like that?
I do want to plug one thing. We have our DFS sponsor, Fantasy Draft, is doing a contest every Wednesday called the Coach's Challenge. It's only $2 to get in on Fantasy Draft, and it's rake free. So anybody, anything that goes into the pool goes back out. So if there's 100 people and $200 in, $200 out. So you can win money. Plus the winner each week gets some cool swag from Fantasy Draft, a shirt, sweatshirt, or hat, a bunch of different stuff. So, it's a lot of fun because all the hoop ball guys are getting in it each week, and I'm doing some stuff with Roto Radar, and they're getting into it. So I really want to encourage everybody. I'll post it on my Twitter account, and it'll be all over our hoop ball stuff. Tomorrow afternoon. It comes out on Tuesdays for the Wednesday slate. Jump in there for $2. It's a blast. It's on Fantasy Draft, and it's only $2 to enter. So you can find me on Twitter at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi, and listen in. We're doing 7-day-a-week DFS Today podcasts through Hoopball, and just join in. We're having a blast, man. And the only show I'm doing other than DFS is this one with you, Adrian, because this is my favorite show of the week, and I love it. And normally I'll do my DFS show prior to this show, so I won't be pushed at the backside to get this done, and I'll ride it out with you. But today we did a little flip-flop in the schedule, so I'm going to be jumping on that show now. But I love it, man. It's great being on with you always, and I'm looking forward to a really fun Monday night season. Mondays are big cards, lots of games, so we're always going to have a lot of fun.
Coach, ditto. I think I look forward to this show the most out of all of them, only because I get to talk to you. I wish we had more shows together, and who knows, maybe down the line in the future we will, but this is my favorite night, and I love that we start everyone's week off on the right foot, like get them going right. So this is great, man. Great stuff. I really enjoyed talking to you on this busy slate. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks so much for listening to the show. I will be back for the final 3 games, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Have a great one.
All right, you guys, I'm back for the final 3 games of the evening. A lot of fun talking to Coach earlier, but let's finish this thing up. The Denver Nuggets played the Sacramento Kings. The Nuggets getting the win here, 101-94. I'm going to jump over on the Nuggets, take a look at Denver's side first. Jamal Murray was pretty good here with 18 points, a steal, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. He added 2 threes, shot a perfect 4 of 4 from the line, 6 of 14 from the field. Will Barton with a nice game, 13 points, a steal, 3 assists, 9 rebounds. He added a 3, only shot 5 of 14 from the field. Gary Harris with a pretty good game here, 17 points, a steal, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 threes, perfect 4-4 from the line, 5 of 9 from the field. Slow start from Gary Harris. I'm really hoping he can get it going. Nikola Jokic with not a great shooting night, only 4 of 15 from the field for 9 points. Did give you a block, 2 steals, 2 assists, 13 boards. He should be just fine. Don't worry about him. Paul Millsap with 9 points and not much else in this one. um, was really off of Paul Millsap heading into this year, really trending downwards. So hopefully you don't have Millsap on your team. And not too much to talk about on the bench. Jeremy Grant, I don't trust at all. I know he was a popular late round guy, but 9 points in just 24 minutes. Just this team is just loaded. Their starters getting all of the usage and minutes, so not much for Grant. Not else really to talk about here. I'm going to jump over on the Sacramento Kings side to Aaron Fox doing his thing with 20 points, a steal, 9 assists, 3 threes, 7 to 17 shooting. Nemanja Bjelica filling in for Marvin Bagley. He had 12 points, 3 blocks, a steal, 3 assists, 6 boards. Love those defensive stats. 4 and 4 threes as well. This is a pretty good game from Bjelica. In deeper leagues, I think he could be worth an ad, but let's just keep an eye on him and see how he does in the next one. Buddy Hield, this is a big letdown here. 2 of 13 from the field, only 5 points. Also had 5 turnovers. Did have a steal and 2 blocks, 4 assists and 4 rebounds. Harrison Barnes had 12 points with 8 boards. I'm kind of curious if Barnes can kind of step up, get more usage with Marvin Bagley out, but I'm just kind of keeping an eye on him. Dwayne Dedman really has not had it going. Only 4 points and 3 boards. Did have a steal and a block, but only played 17 minutes. And the guy you want to get right now, you guys, all 12 team leagues deeper. Maybe if you even need center help in shallow leagues, is Richaun Holmes. A lot of talk that Walton was going to kind of change it up tonight, maybe do some different things with the lineup, try to get more pace going in this one. Holmes got 30 minutes. The Kings played much better. Even though they lost this game, they looked much better. 24 points for Holmes, 13 boards, 2 blocks. This is what we've been waiting for. Shot an efficient 10 of 14 from the field. I think you got to go get this guy in 12 team or deeper leagues. Trevor Ariza, it's not happening for him. Not too much else. Bogdan as well, and only a 19-minute roll off the bench. I don't think he's going to be really worth owning in standard leagues. So that's about it for this game. Let's go over to the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns. The Jazz getting the victory 96-95. Gonna go over to the Jazz side of this game first. Bogdanovich with a really nice scoring game, 29 points, and also added 2 steals, a block, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, gave you 4 threes, shot an efficient 8 of 13 from the field, 9 of 9 from the line. It's a pretty good game from him. Donovan Mitchell's been playing pretty well. Didn't shoot it great here tonight. Only 9 of 24 for 25 points. Did give you 2 steals, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and 3 threes. So it's a pretty good game. Rudy Gobert doing his thing, 15 points, 18 rebounds. It's a pretty big double-double, 2 steals, a block. And I love that you got 11 of 12 shooting from the line from Gobert. Nice to see. I hope he can keep that up, because that would be outstanding to get that improvement with the free throw percentage. Let's see. Conley, man, is still not really happening yet. 0 of 7 for 1 point. Did have a steal and a block, but man, he's really struggling. Ingles just coming off the bench with a low end line. Don't trust anyone else here on the Jazz. Let's go over to the Suns, and Kelly Oubre has been a really solid has gotten off to a really solid start, has been a really good player. 18 points, 2 steals, a block, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 threes on 7 of 19 shooting. I feel like he hasn't had a bad game yet to start the season. Devin Booker, we know he can score at 21 points, added a 3 on 9 of 16 shooting. Ricky Rubio flirting with the triple-double here, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 4 of 9 from the field. Baines got the start, 12 points, 3 rebounds, only got 21 minutes. Dario Saric also got the start, but he kind of came back down to earth in this one. 4 points, 3 assists. Ever since Ayton's gone down, I feel like Kaminsky has been pretty solid. And, even though the scoring wasn't there in this one, only shot 3 of 11, did still have 10 points, a steal, a block, 3 assists, and 8 boards. So if this is Kaminsky's floor, you got to feel pretty good if you were able to pick him up. Not too much else here. Mikal Bridges, I think you could go ahead and drop him. Tyler Johnson, I don't want. Cam Johnson, I don't want. Really nobody else here on this team. All right, you guys, the last game of the evening is the Charlotte Hornets and the Los Angeles Clippers. This one, the Clippers getting the victory, 111-96. Going to jump over onto the Charlotte Hornets side first. I'm going to start with Miles Bridges, who has really been up and down this season, and really shot poorly in this one. This is a tough matchup. The Clippers are really good defensively, so give Miles Bridges a little bit of leash here. 8 points, only on 3 of 11 shooting. He added 2 threes, a steal, 3 assists. Terry Rozier with a okay game here, 17 points, a steal, a block, 2 assists, 3 boards, 3 threes on 7 of 17 shooting. Did have 5 turnovers, so that hurts a little bit. PJ Washington, who was a really popular pickup to start the season, or a really nice late round flyer type guy, had 11 points, 2 steals, 2 threes on 4 of 8 shooting. Zeller with a double-double, 14 points, 13 rebounds. No defensive stats, which is a little disappointing, but Zeller giving you 3 threes, that's outstanding, and he's been a pleasant surprise as well. Dwayne Bacon, I got him in quite a few leagues, and I faded him here tonight. Really tough matchup against the Clippers. The Clippers backcourt and the Clippers wing position is one of the best defensive teams, so I didn't want to play Bacon, and I'm glad I didn't, because he only had 5 points in 22 minutes. Off the bench, Graham doing his thing has been a really pleasant surprise. Doubled here, 14 points, 12 assists, a block, 2 threes. Gotta be patting yourself on the back if you were able to get Devontae Graham, because he looks like he's going to be a solid player for the rest of the season, and a guy who we look back on and say was one of the great pickups of this year. And that's about it for the Hornets. Not too much else here. Gonna jump over to the Clippers side of this game. Shamet had a nice game. 16 points, 2 assists, a steal, 4 rebounds. He had 4 threes on 6 of 12 shooting. Don't really think he's viable in standard leagues, but in deeper leagues he could be worth a look. Pat Bev, he's been kind of low end, hasn't really got it going. Probably never going to blow you away in points, but the defensive stats, he had 2 steals here tonight, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, and can also give you some threes, had 1. So this wasn't the greatest game from him, but also too not the worst. Kawhi Leonard, man, what a beast. 30 points with 3 blocks, 2 steals, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 threes, shot a very efficient 10 of 18 from the field, 8 of 8 from the line. Outstanding game from him. Off the bench, Lou Williams, 23 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. That's pretty good. Montrezl Harrell looking pretty good as well. 19 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 7 boards. Shot a very efficient 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 3 from the line. So he's been really good. Not too much else to talk about. Don't trust Harkless or any of these other guys, and definitely awaiting the return of Paul George for the Clippers. All right, you guys, busy 11 game night. I hope that your fantasy teams did well tonight. A lot of great lines, a lot of great fantasy performances. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Box Score Breakdown show. Was a pleasure, and always great to talk to Coach Joe Sarvati. Hit us up, follow me and hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Adrian Benjamins. Would love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.